Hello, friends. It is Wednesday, 11:30 a.m., which means it's time for the Red versus Blue Let's Play. We're going to be hopping in to the ThreatGEN Red versus Blue cybersecurity gamification platform today. And over the next hour, I will be playing as the blue team. Now, as a CISO in real life, right? In real life, I'm responsible for building cybersecurity programs that are both appropriate for the business size, the business vertical, the resources available, and for maturing those programs to a level that is reasonable for that particular business. Right? It's always a balance. It's always risk based. Right? You're not just shooting for the moon every single time. So in this particular episode, we're going to be going heads up against a red team operator that is based on AI behavior. It is an active adversary simulation. I will be walking you through all of the decisions I make as I go from a virtual green field of a cyber defense posture all the way up to hopefully the win condition of securing all of the assets in my environment, essentially making it as hardened as it can be. That would basically really protect it from most adversaries, minus APTs, and when you have end users who compromise your environment that you didn't know about. So I hope you join us for the next hour. Chat will be brought in. Feel free to ask your questions. If you're looking to learn more about the cybersecurity industry, especially on the defensive side, drop your questions in chat. I will do my best to answer them. Clint Bodungen, famous offensive security pen tester on industrial control systems, wrote the book on it, will be joining us in stream so he can bring that red side of the house. So I hope you can join us. I hope you have fun. Let's hop in the simulator and get after it. All right, Clint. I just want to give you an opportunity to say hi to chat before I take the full screen and we get busy.
Hi, chat.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Clint. All right, let's get into it. All right, guys. So I am a NIST cybersecurity framework advocate where I can, right? Sometimes it's not always appropriate, but my mindset, my methodology today will be with the NIST CSF. I'm going to do single player, play as the blue team. Let's go ahead and keep it a manufacturing plant today. You can see as we jump into the simulator, it does, if it's your first time playing in the simulator, it does give you a bit of a explanation on what we're doing here and what the win conditions are. And you could see eliminate all vulnerabilities. Win condition 1. That is what I am thinking is my win condition. Let's hop into it. Okay, you can see here's my beautiful manufacturing plant. We are manufacturing, we make all the nickels for the United States government. That is what we are manufacturing here.
There's a shortage, though, currently.
There is a shortage. That's why we got the contract, Clint. We're pumping out nickels up in here. All right, here is our network environment. If you're not familiar, just really briefly, information security practitioners are responsible for securing the environment, but we're required to work with the IT brethren on understanding where those assets are. How do we, update them, keep them patched, etc. Even where they're deployed. You can see on the left here, we've got our kind of our, IT infrastructure, our AD server. As we begin to add firewalls and stuff like that, it'll show up here. Here's our user land, if you will, bunch of Carls up in here. And then our engineering workstation. This is our manufacturing side of the house. This is kind of the control areas, very sensitive assets up in here. And then down here are the actual systems that are controlling the cyber physical systems that are, making our nickels, right? So let's jump in, look at our kind of scaffolded taxonomy on what we can do, right? We can't obviously do advanced level stuff until we've put in the basic foundational stuff. I've got $50,000 budget from my CFO as the chief information security officer, 50 grand. In reality, that is what I would call a shoestring budget, depending on what size of the organization we're at. 50 grand doesn't go very far. But
it's important to remember that this is not relevant to real world dollars. This is this is threat dollars. So 50,000 equates to how expensive things are in this microcosm of the ThreatGEN game world.
Agreed.
It could
And
be
this
like
does
5 million or so. I don't know in real world.
Yeah, but the thing is, this gives us at least a controlled environment where the cost of certain controls are commensurate with like what our budget is and stuff like that. Clint's right. Like a real budget would probably be a couple $100,000 for a mid-sized org, like the nickel making place that we are right now. But it's so hard to say because a gateway firewall could cost $3,000 or it could cost $200,000, right? It all depends on feature set, vendor, etc. So we're definitely going to put a gateway firewall in. That's first and foremost. And then I'm a huge advocate of policies and procedures. So let's do that. Actually, you know what? I actually like doing the video surveillance system. This is an incredibly expensive solution at $10,000. It's 20% of our overall budget. So that's a big decision to make. But I believe that we have two kind of threat vectors, right? When we're thinking of attackers, their threat vectors are basically remote or on-prem. And we need to do things to kind of shore it up. The perimeter firewall that I just laid right here, this main firewall, this protects us in some capacity from the internet. So that's our remote attacker. So we've already shored that up. The video surveillance system essentially shores up that that on-prem concern that I have, right? So this is basically before, like, here's the thing. When I build an information security program, yes, you're supposed to kind of do a baseline assessment of our current state, figure out based on threat modeling where we are, threat modeling where we need to be, and then you have your start state and end state, and you basically develop a roadmap to get there. Usually, whatever, a year, 2 year, 3 year. But something that a lot of CISOs don't talk about, or you won't read in any book, is yes, a framework and a roadmap is awesome. But when you get in there, there are certain things that like you don't want to spend 3 months, 6 months doing a baseline assessment. You can walk in and be like, holy crap, this is a hot mess express. I need to address this immediately. And that just comes with time and experience to understand where the hot mess expresses are. And not having a gateway firewall, that is a dumpster fire. Like, you don't need to do an assessment to figure out that that needs to be in place. So I'm just basically shoring up my initial like major risk areas. If I could put multi-factor authentication in, I will. Network segmentation is another huge one, and security awareness. I'm going to drop in some music, Clint. Drop that cassette tape in here.
Can I request some
what's that?
Never mind. I was gonna suggest some Never Gonna Give You Up.
Oh, some Rick Astley.
Yeah.
If we were a red team, maybe we would. So I've got two people, two assets available. Network segmentation, super important. I'm going to go right into that. By doing network segmentation, if I assume compromise, right? It's not if, it's when. If I assume compromise, I can say, okay, at least with network segmentation, I can box the attacker in and at least mitigate the impact of the damage. So when I'm doing that risk analysis and thinking of likelihood and impact, the impact value goes down in level of criticality because I'll have network segmentation in place. Let me check what's going on with chat. Dumb new question. Alex Goodwin, I don't know about new question, my friend. I saw you as the #1 leader in this season's current scores for ThreatGEN. But hopefully you can hear some footsteps, Alex. I'm in second place and I'm coming for you, man. Hey, what's up, Eric Taylor? I see you in chat. Okay, let's see. What is threat modeling? Figuring out what types of threat actors would be interesting. Oh, I see, Clint, you've already addressed this. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically how likely is a particular threat to attack you based on their known TTPs, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason you would do it, Alex, the reason that anyone should do threat modeling is because, we have 25 Gs right now and a couple analysts. Like, I need to make informed decisions. Like, where am I investing my security? Because you really need to invest in high value, high risk reduction kind of low-hanging fruit things that apply to your organization, right? So if you've got like, I don't know, like real transient high volume transaction stuff, you're obviously going to want to look there before you're looking at, like, maybe physical security or something like that, right? Like, that's kind of a loose example, but my point is you have to make risk-based decisions because you don't have infinite dollars in order to choose where to go. So you basically are trying to find the things that have the highest likelihood and the highest impact, so therefore your highest risk items, and then focus on reducing those risks. That's the value of threat modeling. Okay, so my assets are all tied up right now, or my junior analysts are all tied up. So I'm not too worried about them. So we have a couple minutes. I want to say what's up to Michelle and Kimberly, whoever's operating Cybersecurity Central. That's great. Raymond, good to see you. Hey, Poner Joe, love it. Ryan, good to see you. I missed the threat briefing this morning, so I didn't get to see everybody yet. Not only IT up in here. Clint, you mentioned a Kickstarter previously. Any update on when that will start?
Oh yeah, I entered that in chat, but yeah, I'll give more of an update next week. But we are shooting for an early July launch. But next week, I plan to release what the different rewards for each level is going to be.
Cool. Yeah, definitely look forward to that. Maybe we can tease that on the Heads Up live stream that we're doing next week, where I'll be taking on Eric Taylor live. All right. Also, may I just ask, Bob, I'll answer your question in a second. Roger Swanson representing the Low Country. Good to see you, Roger. And Bob, I'll answer this question in a second. I just wanted to ask, how's the audio? Can you guys hear the music all right? I like this music, and I want it to not be like clipping in and out. I'd like it to just be present. And Clint, if you want, halfway through the stream, we can switch to your synth radio. Oh, DevMeister feels like this is hold music. I tell you what, I would switch dentists if the dentist was playing this. I'd go to that dentist. All right, we got our video surveillance installed. You can see from our action log, we're still working on network segmentation, which is a major effort. I have done network segmentation rollouts. It's a big pain in the A. So we've got one resource to commit still. Let's look at what we're doing. We need to start finding where our vulnerabilities are. We need to start deploying EDR. Let's see, how do we get to EDR? Install a SIM. Okay. So here's kind of the first time that I'm actually strategically thinking like a CISO, okay? So asset inventory gets me access to be able to start doing vulnerability mapping and closing out vulns, which is going to be my desired win condition. So I'm motivated to do that. Now, a CISO isn't going for a win condition. A CISO is just going for security posture, resiliency. But by installing the SIM, I get EDR, which means I can find compromises in my environment, which is very valuable. I think I'm going to do, what am I going to do, Clint? I think I'm going to do, I'm going to do asset inventory, okay? My logic here is that I can harden my environment faster than a threat actor is going to be able to compromise my environment. So therefore, like, I'm closing the doors before they try the door handle, right? Or I'm locking the doors. And then I'll go in afterwards and put the EDRs in to see if they were able to exploit a 0-day vulnerability, perhaps, or compromise through a phishing campaign, one of my end users. Now, Bob asked a question. Where's that question from Bob? Something about threat modeling. I saw it.
Yeah, I answered that.
Oh, did you? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, he asked the correlation between threat intelligence and threat modeling, and I had a very simplified answer, which was threat intelligence feeds into the overall process of threat modeling. Threat intelligence is the data. Threat modeling is the process.
Well put, Clint.
And I see Eric Taylor in our audience here. He can probably shed more light on that than myself. And there was another question out there actually here, which I think Eric, if you're still around, you're the best person to answer this, which is, is Yara worth implementing at your organization? And I would say it depends on a lot of factors, but Eric, if you can answer that in chat, that might be a better, unless you have an answer for that, Jerry.
No, I don't. I mean, I have a video on Simply Cyber on how to implement Yara, but I've never worked in an environment. I mean, that's Yara rules are really reserved for full-time SOC analysts. I do blue team work just by virtue of not having a blue team staff underneath me. So, I need to do triage and mitigation. But Yara rules really feed into like that full-time SOC work. So yeah, if Eric Taylor is in chat, that would be good. I'm playing against the AI currently. The Purdue model followed, wasting no time with proper network segmentation. Purdue, huh? I didn't know this was called the Purdue model. Clint, is that historically accurate? Did Purdue pioneer the network segmentation?
Yes and no. I think calling it the Purdue model is just now like calling a tissue Kleenex.
I see.
Yeah, but it was mostly referenced initially by Purdue. I wouldn't say they created it, but in the OT space, the ICS and OT space, it's referenced as the Purdue model. But it's just, I mean, people have to realize that it's not the end all be all, right? Just proper network segmentation is what's important, and there are guidelines, but proper network segmentation depends 100% upon your specific environment.
Definitely. And I see Bob's question. Bob, I'm not sure what you're asking about. Is it handled by the same person or team?
I can answer that. I was in the process of typing that right now,
Okay,
so
cool.
it's easy for me to just say it. So threat intelligence and who handles threat intelligence versus who handles threat modeling. Is it the same person or the same team? That depends on your organization. But I will say that threat modeling is typically handled by the person who's responsible for your cyber risk management, and threat intelligence is under the responsibility of whatever team or person it is to gather threat intelligence. That could be, do you have a threat intelligence team? Is that your SOC, or is it your risk team? It just really depends. But just remember, threat intelligence is the data. Threat modeling is the process.
So I've elected to do policies and procedures because I want to unlock this tree right here that'll allow me to get to security awareness, which is hugely valuable. In the context of the game, I think it helps with physical penetration. So I think between security awareness and video cameras, I'll be good on-prem, and I'll start focusing on hardening my assets from the outside in, with a little dash of priority systems like AD server and stuff like that. But I want to now get into installing my SIM next. I was going to install the SIM. Here's another kind of reality that is really highlighted in the game. I want to install the SIM, but it's one asset, and I don't really have any other activities that I could do for one asset. I guess I could do a VPN. So I wanted to maximize my resources, which is huge for CISOs.
Yeah, the SIM, just like real life, essentially is pretty useless without anything reporting to it.
Exactly. Which, by the way, the same can be said for vulnerability management, vulnerability scanners. So here's the first like real life lesson that you can take away from this stream. Like, a lot of people were like, oh, vulnerability management, we need visibility. So they'll get a vulnerability scanner, stick it on their network, and then scan the crap out of their network. And they'll be like, wow, look at all these vulnerabilities. And then they're like, oh, crap, I don't have capability to aggregate and do trending reporting. I don't have the ability to connect and coordinate remediation and do kind of risk analysis on the vulnerabilities I found. Like, just scanning your network is the first step of like 6 steps in vulnerability management. But unfortunately, many people think that they just scan their network, get results, and that's vulnerability management. And it's not. The same can be said for SIM, right? So Clint brings up a really great point. You can spend 200 grand on a sweet SIM, but if you don't configure your endpoints and network devices to push logs to it, have those logs enriched, have them correlated, fix drift, so timestamps are all kind of consistent with each other. If you don't have that, then the SIM is nothing. It's just a big, beautiful, expensive paperweight. So you got to be careful with that stuff. Okay.
Also, just real quick about the nomenclature, so you don't confuse the audience. When we refer to assets in game, assets are the devices, the computers, the network devices, etc. When referring to money or staff resources, that should be considered our resources. So careful, Jerry, whenever you mention assets and you're referring to resources, I don't want to confuse the audience.
No, that's all right. And you know what's funny? Like in real life practice, I don't call my analysts, like I don't call my staff assets. You know what I mean? I'm not like, hey, let me get one of my assets on that for you. So I'll be more mindful of that. Thank you. Want to say what's up to Eula Chua on the West Coast. Good to see you. Always saying what's up. And James Driscoll, good to see you. All right, so my action log, I have committed all my resources. So, you know, it's going to take me another turn. I'll free up a resource next turn. A resource being a human. I'll free up one of my analysts next turn to be able to work. And then my other two analysts are busting their hump, developing some policy that's high value, high impact for the organization. Here's the thing. It looks like we're really good, like blue skies, but it's just because we have no visibility into anything, whether or not something's compromised or not. The only way we would have any awareness is if a loiterer got picked up or someone got booted out of our environment because they were physically there. Oh, no problem, James. Glad you could join us. All right. We've completed our asset inventory. You can't protect what you don't know you have. Exactly. That's why Shadow IT being assets and computers and switches and stuff that people bring in, Carl brings in and puts on our network in order to like help themselves. If I don't know about that, you know, a lot of times I will say in manufacturing, you'll see that like this is the loading dock here. You'll see some engineer like install a webcam up here so they can watch the loading dock from their desk and not have to get up and walk down there. Makes sense, but the problem is that you know, whatever cam is not secured. I'm not aware of it, etc. All right, so I've got one analyst available to do some work for us. What are we going to do? Let's get down to the vulnerability management. Now, this took me a while to learn, y'all, but you cannot scan ICS devices unless you are, you know how to do it safely. You don't knock it over. You don't cause it to fail. So I'm going to do, this is the technique to basically educate our staff on being able to do a vulnerability assessment well. So let's go ahead and commit that analyst to work on that. So that's going to be our industrial control system specialist. So let's do that. Okay. Not a lot of sound effects for us today, but that's okay. Is there a way for us to access the simulator on our own? Hey, Dr. Joseph, good to see you. Yep, you can go to ThreatGEN.com to get more information. In fact, Clint, I've got the URL in the little scroller says portal.threatgen.com. I've got to fix that. Thank you.
Well, and we have that one there.
Yeah, that's better. I'm gonna actually fix this.
Yeah, and I mean, if you just want to preview, I mean, the for individuals, it's not that expensive. It's $20 a month. It's a subscription, and then you get access to a bunch of other things in addition to just the game. If you just want to try out the game, it's $15 on Steam as a consumer version, and we run like a 50% off sale every 6 months or so. I mean, sorry, every 6 weeks or so. So you have those two options.
Yeah, but I will say on the Steam version, well, on the Pro version that has the monthly sub fee, you get hooked into the leaderboards and the rankings, and you get access to more functionality. Like the Steam version is literally just this, and it's, I don't know. It's
the Pro portal. I mean, you have instructional content. You have there's a whole nother Pro community. There you have the leaderboards. You have your own stats, your personal stats. There's just a lot more. Plus, we're about to launch our members only live streams, which can be anywhere from an AMA with the developers, an AMA with professional cybersecurity folks, or just a whole host of things that are webcasts for members only.
Yep. I'm also going to start bringing in some NIST CSF education in a minute, guys. I was just wanting to get my initial security posture fixed up before I started dropping some NIST CSF love. Hey, Eric Taylor, I don't know if you were here a minute ago or if you stepped away. Clint, I see Eric just messaged in chat. Can you, I don't know if he responded to that question about, do you remember it was around Yara rules?
Yeah, he said he's here for the OSINTing. Well, if you're here for the OSINTing, there's also a message, basically somebody asking if they should use Yara in their organization. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, but we would appreciate
Okay, he said he's back now. Yeah, it's basically somebody sort of asking you the value of Yara, whether they should be using Yara in their organization. And I'll see if I can go find it real quick. But ultimately, I'll let you answer that. My answer was simply, it depends.
Yeah. By the way, so Eric Taylor and I will be going heads up next Wednesday. So he's here studying my techniques. What's
Even
up,
though
Hunter Taylor?
But you're not playing the blue team next week, though.
Yes.
I don't really think it helps him.
Okay, let me do. Yes.
I
okay,
could be a paid spy, though.
We're going to execute a vulnerability assessment now, so we can start patching our vulns. There we go. What does security awareness training do?
He said Yara is better than nothing.
Well, can't. That's not untrue. I've heard a lot about SOC Prime with Sigma. I don't know if he recommends that, but all right. So security awareness training. I'm doing it. In real life, I cannot emphasize how important security awareness training is, y'all. Like, consistent messaging helps change end user behavior, improve cyber hygiene, and most importantly, it adds a face to the cybersecurity office. So when people when Carl accidentally clicks on something and gets scared, they don't feel intimidated or wanting to, say nothing. They feel like they've got a relationship already established with the cybersecurity office, information security office, so they can reach out to you and be like, "Hey, what's up? Let's do this." Hey, Eddie Del Castillo, better late than never, my friend. All right, so I went with security awareness. Got some coins there. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna bring up NIST CSF in a minute. Let me just do this.
For the most part, I'm going to keep my mouth shut on advice on your strategy. I'm just going to let you go and roll with it. I'm just here going to answer questions. One thing, though, I want to throw a shout out because I love this. And if you want to make me full screen real quick.
Yeah, sure.
They are not sponsoring this whatsoever.
It's not focused. Oh. There it is.
There we go. Take a screenshot. They just released their ICS OT core deck along with Dragos. And I just want to point out that I'm a huge fan of this. It's awesome. And Backdoors and Breaches makes a perfect analog companion to Red versus Blue. If you want to, turn off the computers and play something analog and have fun with some incident response exercises, it's excellent. So I just have to throw that out there. I like it so much. I'm promoting it for free with no sponsorship costs because I believe in it that much. So excellent analog companion to Red versus Blue.
It's so good. It's so good. I might even, you know what? When I go to Black Hat DEF CON this year, they sent me like 20 decks to hand out and stuff. And then,
but their version, they have a new version. So the core decks, they have version 2 out now. They have a version 1 expansion deck, or is a version 2 or version 1.1? Yeah, version 2. And there's a 1.1 expansion deck, I think. But this ICS OT, if you're into ICS and OT, excellent. It was like, I would say excellent. What is it? Love it.
Love it.
I'm a Backdoors and Breaches evangelist.
I love it. I need to re-add that to my soundboard here. All right, so we've got ICS safe testing methods in. I think we're still doing security awareness training. We got one. This is a perfect time to do something for one. Now, what are we going to do? This is me thinking as let's install the SIM now. This is a perfect one turn, one thing. Right, so we can get that EDR. See, security awareness is going to end next turn. Our SIM will be installed next turn. It's going to look like a hot mess express on this map, because we're actually going to learn how jacked up our situation is. So let's get ready. All right, let's do it. Actually, I haven't done the vulnerability scan, so it's not going to look like a threat. I mean, a hot mess. Okay. All right, now we're going to do vulnerability assessment, okay? Let's do it.
Eric says that he has those decks, but the backdoors and breaches, but he can't get into the D&D mindset. And that's a big difference between backdoors and breaches and red versus blue, aside from the analog versus digital. But yeah, I mean, obviously red versus blue is a bit more comprehensive, free flowing, and like a computer game. Backdoors and breaches does play like a card game and more like a traditional paper D&D, Dungeons and Dragons game. But I would say that if all you have available to you is the traditional tabletop exercises where they would traditionally use PowerPoint and Excel spreadsheets, backdoors and breaches does help you facilitate that style of paper-based tabletop exercise. But you do have to have a facilitator, and you do have to have somebody that really kind of knows what they're doing in terms of running an IR tabletop, but also somebody who understands the game. So anyway, just saying that.
Yeah, you do need an incident master, which is the dungeon master equivalent, and typically someone who's like gone through an incident or two before, in order to kind of because it's really incumbent upon the incident master to make a elaborate explanation. So like when you are trying to like look at the sim, right? Like say you're going to play the sim card and you roll and you don't successfully win on the roll, the incident master has to come up with some plausible explanation on why looking at the sim didn't work. Like you roll and it fails, and you can be like, oh, it looks like that the endpoint agent wasn't installed correctly on that endpoint, so the telemetry wasn't being pushed to the sim. Try again. Okay, so guys, I've got vulnerability assessment coming, and I've got it's going to take 3 turns, which is a million years, and I've got one analyst available. You can see my threat intelligence score has gone up to 1%, so chances are the threat actor is definitely doing something in my environment. So I'm going to go ahead and install endpoint detection on my engineer workstation. This is an example where I want to start getting visibility into potentially compromised devices, and I've chosen in my mind the priority and criticality of the devices is the order in which I'm going to execute. So really, this engineering workstation, this control PC right here are my top priorities. Then AD typically would be important, but I'm actually going to focus on the firewalls in order to because it's segmented, the threat actor is going to have to move laterally through the firewalls, which is the whole reason you do network segmentation. So that's my priority on those. Oh, I do love Magic the Gathering. A million years ago. I was into Magic before they started doing the block series. Like I was like version 3, version 4.
Old school.
Wicked old school. All right, so I got EDR installed. I'm running low on cash, but I'm hoping that the board sees how awesome I am and they just give me money so I don't spend resources and time on trying to ask for money. Okay. Oh, crap. Our P&L is going down. That's not good. All right.
Uh-oh. You need visibility.
Yeah, I know. All right, so let's start adding, let's do EDR in these different areas.
Jerry the goat.
Bring up the checkbook crew after mitigating an existing. Yes. So real quick, since we were talking about Black Hills InfoSec for a minute, how do I, give me 1 second. I just want to point this out. They just released their 2nd edition of their Rekka comics, and it comes with the actual comic. It comes with a couple exclusive backdoors and breaches cards of staff and then there's also a comic with the Bears, the red team and blue team. And I read this with my 7-year-old, and they loved it. So
that's what Kerry was talking about in chat. I was wondering what the heck he was talking about, the Bears.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome. Okay, so let me get back to the gameplay here. Okay, so I've committed all my analysts to working on this stuff. My P&L is going down, which means that I've got compromises going on, maybe data exfil. I don't like it. It's giving me some tummy trouble. So let's hope for the best, okay? Still want to talk about NIST CSF, but all right. P&L is kind of holding steady. I've got one resource, my vulnerabilities. All right. I'm going to keep installing EDR on my network, like basically my network segmentation firewalls. In fact, I probably need to install it on this one since I'm focusing on the importance over here. Hold on. Why do I have that not take? Okay, there we go. All right, real quick, just for the family here for chat. Let me do this. Multiple Carls. Yeah, you got it. All right. Really quick, guys. This is the NIST Cybersecurity Framework. If you're not familiar with it, it is a very cool, useful methodology for implementing cybersecurity in a maturable way at an organization. It's broken into 5 areas. You can see it at the top, right? Identify, protect, detect, respond, recover. Now, what I want to point out to this, think about it this way, okay? This is so brilliant the way that they've laid this out. Identify and protect is basically like GRC and security architecture work. This is left of boom or before bad stuff happens in your environment. So this is like policies and procedures, vulnerability scanning, like looking for stuff and setting up the gateway firewall. Detect, respond, and recover. That's right of boom. That's when like crap happens and you have the ability to know what happened, control it, be able to logistically operate, with communication and hey, yeah, and then recover obviously to a known good state. So think of the first 2 as left of boom, GRC architecture. Think of the 3 on the right as security operation, work, blue team work. That's the way to think about it. And you could follow this in a very deliberate, prescriptive way in order to implement a cybersecurity program. Yes, Nick Barker. I've got tummy troubles when it comes to my my environment right now. I'm not digging it. Let me see. I don't have a tummy troubles sounder, but let's see. What do I got? Yeah, I don't. I got
straight cash, homie.
Straight cash, homie. Hopefully that helps. All right. So I feel like my soundboard is configured more for the red team right now. Bob had asked earlier in chat, or someone, Blagoj, do you guys find more enjoyment doing red or blue tasks? I feel like that's a really interesting question. I'll just, lob up my explanation. And Clint, I'm interested in yours. So for me, red is really cool and fun and like almost like magic tricks. But blue is like defense, and it doesn't feel great at the beginning. But when you build a program and then you snare threat actors, or like you watch kind of the orchestration of your overall program execute elegantly, that's a win. What about you, Clint? You like operating red or blue?
So I've done both extensively throughout my career, but initially, I was originally a hacker from the 90s and technically from the 80s, but I started my career off as a hacker, and I gravitate towards extreme puzzle solving. That's why CTFs are so great for the hard skills and red teaming. But I mean, blue team obviously has its technical side too, command line and writing scripts and automation and PowerShells and also with configuring, IOC rules and stuff like that. In a SOC and blue teaming has its own level of playing chess. So they're equal in terms of the level of technicality you can get into and the level of chess and cat and mouse chasing that you do. It just really depends on, do you want to be, and even blue team even has threat hunting, right? So it just depends, do you Do you like to break stuff or fix stuff? That's what it comes down to. Do you like to catch bad guys, or do you like to play the part of the bad guy? And you know, also red team has more immediate gratification because you succeed if you pop a box, whereas blue team, you only know if you succeed if you catch somebody. Otherwise, you don't know if you're succeeding or not when there's silence on the wire. So that's my explanation.
No, it's really well put. All right, I got to install NIDs here. NIDs are 2,000 a piece. I need to install 4 of them. That's not good. So normally I would install it here, but I do have EDR on my engineering workstation and down here. So I'm actually going to install it in the DMZ, hoping that, basically, if you think about network segmentation, there's the internet, then there's the DMZ, then there's your internal in a basic network segmentation. So for putting NIDs in the IDS, it kind of shows me, it's like that first kind of canary in the coal mine to tell me that there's a hot mess going on up in there. All right, let's see. Network sensor installed, vuln assessment. This is good. There's our device. Let's continue deploying these things. Now, again, I said I wanted to remediate all vulnerabilities as my win condition, but because I've got some compromise in my environment, like it becomes paramount for me to find the problem and not, just ignore it. Okay, so again, I'm going to put it over here. Well, okay. I'm going to play this like I would a CISO in real life. This IT infrastructure is much more important than the end user land, right? Chances of compromise are pretty good over here, but these users should, if it's my environment, they're going to have low privileged access. But over here is where like domain admins log in and stuff like that. So I'm going to put it there. I'm going to do another one. Let me see. I'll put it in user land. This stinks. I don't know if the board's going to give me money.
They probably will be inclined to give it to you now that you've at least done a vulnerability assessment. I would say that depending on how many times you have requested, there's a possibility that if you just sit back and wait for a little while and then request again, I mean, because there is literally a correlation in the game, built into the game, to where if you keep asking, you're essentially pissing the board off to where they're telling you to go away.
Yeah. Well, let me do this. I'm going to do ICS vendor certification. Actually, you know what? I'm going to wait because ICS vendor certification is $0. And I want to... Hold on. I'm going to need this. It's 2 turns. Here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to save the vendor certification for the spaces when I'm out of money, simply because there will be some turns where I'm having to ask for money. Here, request budget. That's going to take 3 turns. All right. So I've put together a decent security situation. You can see I know where my vulnerabilities are. Implement strong Wi-Fi costs 0. That's cool. Harden RDP is $0. This is good. So we're actually going to be able to do quite a few things for $0, which, by the way, is another reality, right? A lot of times people buy tech and then they don't configure it properly. There's a ton of built-in security functionality in, Aruba devices and Cisco routers and switches, like ACLs and ARP snooping and DHCP allocation and MAC address filtering and all this other crap. And it's hard to configure it. So some people don't do it. They're just like, oh, packets are up, packets are flowing. This is the difference between IT and InfoSec again. All right. So we're still requesting budget. We got $1,500. Let's see. How are we going to harden our environment? Let's put EDR on this guy. Well, hold on, let me look over here. Let's put EDR on here and EDR on here. Okay. Let me know if there's any questions about NIST CSF. I can pull that up again, but I'm going to start moving a little quicker here. Bob wants to know whose idea was it to configure the board to be sensitive.
Yeah, and that was me from lots of experience.
Based on reality. All right. So I just want to make sure that I've properly, I can patch my, oh, I see. Okay. So I want to start patching stuff, which, oh my gosh. No, that's not what I want. I want to do vendor certification, which allows me to apply patches to ICS equipment, which is huge. So let's do one more endpoint detection and response. I feel like I've got it on all of my devices. Yeah, this is good. So I'm going to put it on my end user workstation. I feel like this is a tough one. This is where like you have a lot of options and not a lot of money. All right, I'm going to put it on the basically the wireless concentrator. Although, hold on. I'm going to install it on the terminal server, which should be accessible from the internet, right? That's kind of the VPN concentrator where the normal end users kind of terminate and make a connection into your environment. P&L is still going down. This is not good, people. I don't like that. Budget acquired. All right, good. I've got major tummy troubles. All right, let's go ham on installing EDR and finding where this threat actor is.
You can also do threat hunting if you have the ability. I think you have to do advanced security skills to do threat hunting, but you can do threat hunting as an alternative to replacing EDR. There's a balance issue, I think, and Greg has pointed it out that like if you have to go all the way through advanced skills training to get threat hunting, then it's easier just to place EDR on everything.
No, hold on. So I can't do threat hunting for the environment. It's threat hunting for a single asset, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather just install EDR and get value every turn from it.
Yeah, I think we need to rebalance that a little bit, or at least have the ability to pay to have threat hunting done as an external, because like that threat hunting is an internal thing because it's coupled with all of your internal things like internal vuln assessment, internal pen test. We need to have an option. Greg, make a note of this. We need to have an option to have a paid threat intelligence service, or I'm sorry, threat hunting service, just like you can pay to have vulnerability assessments done in game.
Yeah, I'm trying to find this compromise. I guess let's put it here. I'm only putting it on this guy. Here's one kind of reality between. No, actually, I guess this is in reality. Like this user right here is at a higher risk because they're basically out on the internet. They're at Starbucks. They're in hotels, right? So the chances of them getting popped are a lot more likely than these end users because like this can happen multiple ways. You could push a rubber ducky onto it. You could do evil maid attacks. This has to be more of like falling for a fish or something. What's up, Believe Your Heart? Good to see you. I do not think we have hardened RDP to shut down the highway in the OT kit. Gezumped. Yep. As far as logs go, oh, there we go. We finally found the asset. I don't see it. It must have been that remote end user, which again doesn't surprise me because they're at a higher risk of compromise. So let us continue to harden our assets. So if the end user was here, then they're either, and they were the compromised asset, right? It doesn't say what asset it was, but I'm assuming it was this guy. So they're either getting through the firewall into this main IT infrastructure, or they're up in this terminal server space. I'm going to believe it's the terminal server space. So let's continue EDRing. Okay, do I want to harden RDP? What does harden RDP do for me? Removes insecure remote desktop connections. This is especially important for workstations that have remote desktop connections to critical assets. All right, so let's do that. It's going to take 2 turns, which stinks, but you know, it is what it is. Cyber herpes on these open networks. All right. P&L is staying okay in high yellow. If it gets down into the red, we're not. We're like we basically get fired and the business goes under. All right. All right. Hold on. Oh, there's this guy. All right. So unfortunately, I feel like I have to activate EDR. Let's do EDR. Activating IR takes. I said EDR, but I meant activate IR. Activating IR does take 1 analyst to do, or it takes 1 turn to do. You can see it there on the left. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to maximize these 2 junior analysts to do something of value, and then activate IR. All right, so we've got EDR installed in our entire environment and on our firewall. So this area is pretty well protected. And let's do antivirus on this guy, thinking that might be the attack vector. Like, let's get the AV updated so the malware doesn't detonate, and then let's activate IR. Okay, we're going to clean that asset because I think that's part of the reason our P&L is going down. There's some data exfil going on. Carl! How learn is course all money and certificate? Money people only learn is course and language problem. Money, money. Not sure. I'm not sure, believe in your heart. What exactly you're saying. If you can clarify your statement, I'd love to get your thoughts on it. Anyone know of companies using the ThreatGEN game as part of their interview process? Interesting, Poner Joe. What do you think about that, Clint?
I think that it's a great idea, and I think that it's something that we've talked about internally about how to help actually facilitate that and make it easier for companies to do so. But as is, the game would be an excellent tool to use it during the interview process. Basically, kind of have them play as blue team or red team, and just say, "Here, go. How show me how well you do," and then have them download the report at the end of the game, so you can analyze it. And by the way, our downloadable reports will be improving when 1.10 drops. The downloadable report, I think, will have more detailed information in it for analysis, but also we will be, just improving overall capabilities to do such a thing with more specific labs and scenarios and things like that. So you can set up a specific scenario, have them go through it, see how they do. And then now keep in mind, red versus blue isn't hard skills. It's not hard technical skills. It's more strategic and on both the red team and the blue team. So, but it could be a good entry litmus test though. Yeah.
It's a great idea for job interview. Like, explain me your thought process instead of coming up with some scenario and asking them their thoughts on it. You just have them sit next to you and play this game and be like, explain to me what you're thinking. So guys, I just want to share that this absolutely bothers me extensively. I hate, like, if you know me, you know that I love maximizing my resources. I hate leaving resource utilization on the table. I activated my IR and Carl stepped away with his laptop, shut it down. I can't do anything. So now I have to deactivate IR so I can go back to my job and leave these 3 resources hanging. It's a bummer. a total bummer. It's a waste of my time, waste of resources. So I'm going to deactivate it. I swear to God, if Carl shows up, bro, I'm not going to do it. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a bunch of stuff that would help with visibility. And then I'm going to activate IR. I'm going to change the default creds on this. What does that do for me? Okay. Let's change the default creds on this. Cost $0. That's good. I don't really want to add EDR there. Let's put EDR on our AD server. And does a network... one second. I want to install that final NIDS device. There it is. Okay. And we're going to activate IR. Okay. Let's go.
I'm a crypto evangelist.
Whoops.
I love it.
Wrong
love
button.
it. Love it.
Hit the wrong button. I was queuing up a button so I could throw Carl into a river. All right, here we go. IDS sensors installed everywhere. Vulnerability mitigated. IR activated. Okay, cool. So now we can actually do this. Now, it's $5,000 to replace this asset. I'm just going to replace the asset. Normally, I would gather forensics, but as I've said, I just want to... my win condition is to harden the environment. And let me tell you all something real, okay? Here's a real thing. Like, if you're a small information security shop, right? You've got like one person in charge of the program. Maybe you have like 1 or 2 analysts, or in this case, 3 analysts that are helping you, but they're doing GRC, security awareness, vulnerability management, configuration, control boards, all of those things. As much as it's really, really fun to gather forensics and do digital forensics type stuff and rip apart malware and reverse it and all that, that is a ton of fun. It also takes a lot of time. And the sad truth is, for me, really, I would clean the asset in real life. I'm going to replace it just because I don't want this thing to come up again. But in real life, you wouldn't do forensics because you just don't have time for it. Really, this is more reserved for like major incidents. You're bringing in, specialists like Barricade Cyber Solutions or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and click replace asset. And I literally have to leave my 2 analysts on the bench because I can't do anything. Now, replacing the asset takes 1 turn. So I'm going to deactivate IR also, with the idea that it's like replaced and I deactivate IR at the same time. So Les, we can run vulnerability scans on the environment, which we've already done, which is why we have all that visibility of like, system hardening default creds, system patches are missing, the firmware is not updated. Like, that's what we have visibility of. This platform is designed more around the strategic level versus running a certain solution like Nessus or Rapid7 or something like that. We want people to focus on the educational learning objectives, not around configuring Nessus and dealing with config files and putting IP addresses in and stuff like that. Okay, so we've got a clean asset. Carl's machine is clean, so that's a win. By the way, just a shout out to the threat actors who are attacking me.
Look at me. Sure. I'm the captain now.
That's right. I've evicted you from my environment, sir or ma'am. Okay. So now let's continue on our road to purge this environment. So looking at my ICS stuff. Okay, so this doesn't have EDR. I'm not going to install EDR. All right, I'm going to patch this. I'm going to install AV. Clint. Oh, I see. weak password is a vulnerability, but you can't patch it. You need
Correct.
you need to implement strong passwords, which is what I'm going to do right now. Okay. I've got one resource left. No patch currently available. Ooh, that's an interesting development. I didn't realize that patches were temporal now.
Yeah. So there are, I mean, so here's what I don't like about, I'm not sure if we just changed the language to say, go from 0 day to just say no patch available. Or if there's something with that. That's actually something that happened without me knowing about it. I'm going to have to ask Greg on the back channel. Do you know what's the deal with no? I think we just changed the language to say no patch currently available rather than calling it a 0 day. I like calling it a 0 day personally, but it makes more sense to say no patch currently available.
Yeah.
Now, just so you know, now there can be more than one patch. I mean, sorry, there can be more than one type of vulnerability on each machine now. And I do think that vulnerabilities can be reintroduced, or I don't know. I know at one time we were talking about the vulnerabilities can be reintroduced.
Oh shit! Hold on, I got to do something really quickly. Crap. Implement strong Wi-Fi. Not really what I want. Oh, damn
I
it.
was getting long-winded. Anyway, I'll answer this later.
I mean, you can answer now. I got 3 minutes. I was listening. Yeah, if you want to finish answering that, I'm actually going to work on my strategy right now. My goal here is to harden the network segments, again, with the idea that I'm compartmentalizing my my impact. Dude, we're only at turn 25. I feel like I've built a decent. Holy crap! I'm in the orange now. All right, so I definitely have a compromise somewhere in my environment. I'm assuming it's Carl. So let's end the turn. Guys, I'm telling you, I got like an upset stomach just based on all this. All right, so now we've got our firewalls a bit hard. Why is this? Okay, so I can't do anything about that. EDR is there. EDR, EDR. Where do I want to put EDR? I have visibility all up in here. Implement strong Wi-Fi. No. Change default creds. EDR on that. Guys, I want to find the threat actor. I have to imagine the exfil is going on over here. So, okay.
Okay, I have an answer for you. I was unaware of this. So 0 day indicates that it is just not a publicly known vulnerability, and both the red team and the blue team can discover a 0 day. The no patch currently available means it is a publicly known vulnerability, but a patch has yet to be produced.
Okay, but it's a temporal value, right? There will be a patch at some point.
Yes.
Okay, I mean that's actually a kind of cool idea. This P&L loss is giving me heartburn right now. All right, compromised asset detected. Multiple compromised assets detected. I knew it. I'm on to you. All right, let's activate IR. We are going ham on this threat actor. I am so lit right now. Okay, here we go. All right, so first off, I'm going to do a couple things. I'm clamping down on this environment right here. You chose the wrong threat. You chose the wrong environment, buddy. Okay, here we go. These are all basically various different things. What's this guy do? System patches. What's this guy do? Harden. See, I I can patch this guy. That's good. So let's do that. Let's do that. I want everything to be one turn. Chances are this individual got through here. So let's do these things. Update firmware, default creds. Okay, and then activate IR. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, intruder was arrested. Unauthorized person was caught trying to enter the facility. Good thing we had those cameras. Okay. Okay. So we got this person arrested. Firmware is updated. That's good. IR activated. Let's clean these assets. Okay. Now, why would we disconnect it from the network? This prevents unauthorized data excel and prevents adversaries from pivoting or remotely controlling assets. Now, here's the thing. Disconnecting these assets is fine, but it takes a turn. It doesn't help me, and I'm already in the orange on the P&L. The only reason I would disconnect it from the network is so I could then gather forensics at the same time, but that's not a thing for me. So what I'm going to do is I got to look at how much it costs to.
Okay, I just got to say something.
Mm-hmm.
This is some fun happenstance trivia. One of those compromised boxes, the host name that was automatically generated with an Easter egg insert that we have. So the last name, look at that. Is that A Bodungen?
R.
Oh, never mind. I was going to say, if it's A Bodungen, that is literally my wife. That would have been funny.
All right, guys, I'm going to. Here's the thing. It costs $10,000 to replace these assets, which is huge. I'm going to replace the assets. I want to clean them, but I don't want to be in IR for 2 full turns. Like, nobody's got time for that. Okay. So I'm going to drop 10 grand, replace both assets, and deactivate IR because I can't really do anything else of value. I could disconnect the switch, but I don't have major problems, right? New asset detected. What the crap? Oh,
so
my
there's
gosh.
a good comment here. I'll wait until after you get done. I'm going to answer this. After you get done stressing out, I'm going to answer this.
Dude, this threat actor's all up in my business. All right, so we gotta.
Oh, on the historian.
Yeah. This is a problem. All right, we're gonna harden this sucker up a bit. We're gonna put EDR on here. We're gonna patch this guy, and we're gonna activate IR.
I'm going to answer Annie real quick. Real simply, to have cloud servers in the cloud, you got to think of that. Think of this. Number one, having assets in the cloud that's not like your web server or something like that, but actual like SharePoint's usable servers in the cloud. That's simply just another network zone for you, except for one thing. You may or may not be responsible for patching it and securing it. So that adds a new dynamic. We are going to have a few of those scenarios coming up in Red versus Blue.
I've deactivated. I've opted to replace this asset. I strongly thought about cleaning it, but as long as I've got dollar bills, I'm interested in going for the high roller package, right? I don't know what Bob's saying. But
I think, yeah, but I mean, you have IDS sensors in the networks that are compromised, unless you put them there after the fact. But it's quite possible that the red team could be on site.
Yep. Well, this is going to take one turn. I'm going to deactivate IR also because that asset's going to be replaced. I did put a lot of stock in my security cameras. Okay. All right. So now our environment. Holy crap! Look at my P&L, man.
Oh no! Oh no!
How do I get my P&L up?
This is probably I have never seen anybody lose a P&L victory against the computer before. I'm sure it's happened, but I've never seen it.
Dude, I mean, I hope P&L can go back up, right? I mean,
Yeah. It can go back up. You have to clean the device, though. You have to figure out where the compromise is and clean it.
yeah. I've got EDR everywhere. Not everywhere, but I mean, like most places. Oh, hold on a second. Told you, tummy troubles.
Yeah, and I mean, it was probably the Historian, which is that PCS recorder, which is the host name. Now that you fixed that, your P&L should start going up, I'm imagining, unless you have another compromise somewhere else.
I feel like it went down from last turn to this turn. So that's okay. Let's do EDR. I mean, the thing is, they were up here, they were over here. I feel like my IT infrastructure is good. I want to really focus over here. Deploy USB security. What's that do? Scan the secure USB ports. Okay. I mean, that would mean they're on site, which is like outrageous. Let's do it. All right, here we go. I want to cry. I feel like I'm about to lose.
You have 5 turns to get out of the red total.
Okay. Well, it hasn't moved. I've got EDR everywhere. Well,
No
not
pressure,
everywhere.
but I think losing a P&L loss, being an internal ThreatGEN employee and losing a P&L loss against the computer is grounds for ridicule internally at ThreatGEN.
Oh my god. I can't deal with this. So, I mean, installing AV isn't going to like detect a compromise. Dude.
I think it is going up, though.
Is it? Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing things.
Eric Taylor. Come on, let's go. I love it, Frog Dog.
Save those tears for next week. Oh.
God. All right, here we go, guys. I'm going to hit end turn.
Next week's going to be epic.
Come on, go to the orange. Loiter removed from perimeter. Good.
They were on site, maybe dropping. It's going up. It is going up a little bit, but you may. Ooh, I think you got like 1 or 2 turns to get that in the orange.
All right. Well, how the heck do I? Okay. I have, dude. I have EDR on every. Well, not this one, not that one. I have EDR on a lot of things. Like, hold on. You can't do data exfil from like a switch. EDR is on all of these things. Hold on. I should be able to see. Where's. Hold on. God damn. I'm going to need Pepto. I'm like a real. Like, I need Pepto. I'm like flipping out in a simulation right now. Ugh. Look at it. I've got an EDR in almost everywhere. EDR isn't going to help my P&L though, right? It's just going to help me detect the problem. All right. Let's damn it. Come on, man. Why can't I do anything? Install AV. Install AV. See, they're on premise though. What can I do for my on-prem stuff? Like, they've been on-prem twice now. Obviously, they've got a, strong interest in that. Implement strong Wi-Fi. Let's see. Okay. I mean, that wouldn't hurt. Maybe stop them. All right, let's go. Please, 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 please. Bob said I failed the job interview. Here we go. Oh, look at how close this is to orange, Clint.
Oh, I think you got 1 more turn. It may be over already.
I mean, I have EDR everywhere. Okay, like, I don't want to say conspiracy theory, but like, are the developers upset that I win. So they're queued on my user account.
Just because the AI, just because the AI actually did well for once.
I haven't lost yet.
Yes, you have. You've lost red team before in the past.
No.
Not on
I
blue
meant
team though.
this game.
Oh.
So I'm gonna install EDR on everything. Dude, something got compromised. I immediately addressed it. I have EDR everywhere. Come on. Yeah.
Oh.
Dude, this is some.
Go look
crap.
at the results. Where were they? That way I can wait. Go back, view the results. Wait, there's nothing compromised.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's because it was still going up. Your recovery, so you cleaned it, but so there's nothing currently compromised, but it's the P&L still has a recovery time. You have to get out of the red in 5 turns. So
How
that
did
your recovery rate.
Yeah, but how did it cascade into the red so quickly?
Probably I don't know because I didn't see. You know what? You have to download the report and we have to look and see what all was compromised through over time. Just download the report and we can analyze the red team actions and see what happened. Because I'm curious on what happened too.
They said 2 USB drops here. Right? So 2
Yeah.
USB drops.
So they probably they were probably able to get data exfiltration plus destructive malware on very important hosts.
Like what hosts? Look at this. Nothing.
Yeah, Greg is saying data exfiltration on key devices is most likely what happened. Maybe also destructive malware. And Greg would know. He plays the game more than anybody.
Oh. So they had visibility on these devices. Dang. So they had that. This was the remote user.
They had visibility on the PLCs because they had access to the
recorder.
To the historian. That doesn't mean they had control over the PLCs.
Yeah, I mean they didn't even know what devices these were. They got on site.
It was all your historian. Yeah, data exfiltration and probably destructive malware on the historian. We'd have to go through and look at the red team logs to see exactly what successes. I'm gonna call a lot of luck on the red team because I'm never able to install malware and also get data exfiltration. Well, data exfiltration, yes, but destructive malware, if in fact, because on one host, in order to get the P&L going down that fast, you've got to have number one, a very important host. Number two, you have to have data exfiltration and destructive malware, and unless you just missed AV on that historian, I've never had that much success with destructive malware on any single host. I mean, this is one of the strategies I was trying against you when I lost against you. I was trying to P&L you, and I was putting malware and destructive malware and doing data exfiltration, and I couldn't get your P&L to go down that fast. So
it was missing antivirus, Clint, according to this.
There you go. That's it. Basically, it compromised that host early in the game, most likely with one of the USB drops, and was able to do data exfiltration and destructive malware early in the game. Because we did see your P&L going down early.
So a couple of things.
Be sure and save that report.
Thanks for replying. We're currently interviewing other candidates. I didn't qualify for the job. Damn, Bob. Thanks, Roger. Yeah, it is a really cool learning tool. I will say, okay, so here's the silver lining for myself as an educational opportunity and for, those of you attending. This highlights why you need to prioritize your assets based on criticality and sensitivity to your environment, right? This PCS recorder is way more valuable than this remote user's laptop. So while I focused on the engineering workstation early, I kind of didn't pay a lot of attention to this PCS data historian. And, it just happened to be compromised early and resulted in a major devastating P&L loss, which means basically I got fired from my job. So, dang. All right. I'm just looking at chat now. Here, let's do this, Clint, really quick. Let's do this. Clint, pulling you up on chat or on stream. All right. Let's see. I'm just looking through chat really quick and see if there's any comments, any feedback, thoughts on what we did today. Remind people that I'll be playing Heads Up next week with Eric Taylor, one of those situations where I'll be streaming on Simply Cyber, my YouTube channel, my personal one. Clint or Eric will be streaming on his YouTube channel, Barricade Cyber Solutions. He'll be the blue team like I was today. I'll be the red team next week. And then on ThreatGEN, the channel that you may be watching on right now, you can see it at the top left on the stream, or the top right, you can see the YouTube channel URL. Clint and Simon Lindstedt will be sportscasting both Eric and my screens, flip-flopping and giving expert commentary and analysis. It's really fun when we do this kind of e-sport event. So definitely check it out. Clint, you want to comment on the upcoming event next week?
Yeah, we piloted this format against Bob.
This is
Carl
Eric
was promoted. Carl was promoted.
Oh no, Eric Taylor, the guy I'll be taking on next week, talking trash about me.
Yeah. So here's the thing. As the commentator and the shoutcaster, I'm supposed to be non-biased, but I'm gonna have to be rooting for Eric for two reasons. Number one, he's a red. I'm torn. You're gonna be red team, Jerry, but at the same time, like, I need somebody. I can't have your head swelling to the point to where you're going to be CEO of the company. So I need you to experience some loss. So I'm probably going to have to be going for Eric. I'm in Eric's corner, even though I'm usually never the blue teamer. But like I was saying earlier, we piloted this when it was you and going against Josh and Josh Mason, and it went rather well for a pilot. And there's some areas we can polish it up a little bit, which we'll be doing. And so I'm gonna do a tail of the tape. So Simon and I will usually get started about 15 minutes early, even though the broadcast says at the bottom of the hour. Simon and I will get started about 15 minutes early for some early commentation, if that's a word. And I'm gonna build a tail of the tape, which I'll work with Jerry on doing. So we want to make this the UFC of red team and blue team competitions, if you will. So it's going to be a good time. And then Jerry and I are also still in the process of kind of turning this into a league. We're going to be running a pilot tournament to test out the league format, and then if that goes well, we're actually going to establish a league. So the tournament that we're going to be doing to pilot the league is going to be invite only, unfortunately, but we're going to have a website built up for it and everything. But once that goes, we'll turn it into a tournament. I'm sorry, the tournament will be turned into a league.
Yeah, the tournament is going to be awesome. We'll definitely be promoting it well in advance so you guys know about it. Alistair is asking about the different channels. You can see, Alistair, if you go on YouTube and just look for the word ThreatGEN, you can see I put it in the search bar at the top here. You'll get brought to this page. This is the ThreatGEN channel right here, and this is it. So make sure to hit subscribe. It definitely helps us. And you can see the upcoming videos. This is where is it?
Down below.
Yeah, right here. This is the upcoming live stream between Eric and I. And then Eric's channel is Barricade Cyber Solutions. So if you Google or you put in YouTube Barricade Cyber, this is Eric's channel right here, and you can see the upcoming live stream is right here. So you can catch, depending on what feed you want, right? If you want to be Team Simply Cyber and support me, come over there. If you want to support Eric, I don't know why anyone would, but you can go over there. And then, of course, you can go to the ThreatGEN channel and get get that feed yourself, and get the commentary too, because I'll be trying my best to share my knowledge and information as I'm playing, but because it is heads up, it will be moving much faster. So I won't have as much time to dig deep into kind of my logic and reasoning. But Simon and Clint will not be playing, they'll be observing, so they can actually provide a greater understanding of what's going on in the decision-making process. I'll tell you what, if I lose to a P&L loss, well, actually, I'm the red team. Maybe I'll go after Eric's P&L loss. Take that on.
I don't know. You
Yep.
told me about a strategy, which I'm not going to announce here, but you told me about a strategy you were going to do, and I think that's an excellent strategy.
Yeah. You see that, Eric? I've been putting thought in, been doing the work, putting in the hours, been in the gym late last night, running through a couple scenarios. So I'm really excited about that. All right. That's going to do it for us, guys. If you're watching on the ThreatGEN channel, definitely hit thumbs up, hit subscribe. We genuinely appreciate it. It helps us know that the type of content we're producing is what you want to see, and it's delivering value to you. So that's the best way to say thank you, is to sub and hit the like button.
No, Bob, I do not control the AI. In fact, I didn't even program the AI. That was Aaron Shabib, our chief architect. But in 2 updates, probably Q3, we're doing an overhaul on the AI. So let's see what happens.
Yeah. I'm going to talk to Aaron after this.
I am actually participating in the AI update for Q3. So I'm going to make sure I put in some anti-Jerry stuff in there.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. I do hope you got value. I certainly enjoyed it. Big slice of humble pie, but it is what it is. Clint, any final thoughts before we close out?
You know what? This highlighted 2 things. Number one, I am actually glad that you did get beat by the computer AI, not to like harp on you or make fun of you, but number one, it does actually demonstrate to people that are watching that the AI as it is currently is dynamic, and it does change strategies, and it can beat you. Even if you are doing the proper things, it did better things at better times, right? So I think that demonstrates the dynamic nature and the capabilities of the platform. But also, number 2, it highlights what you mentioned earlier, Jerry, in that it's important to pay attention to your risk assessment as you're, determining what assets are higher priority and what order you should do things. So
absolutely. Well put, Clint. All right. Thank you, everybody on chat, for being with us today. Stay tuned. Tomorrow morning, I'll be doing the threat briefing in the morning on the Simply Cyber channel. And on Wednesday next week, ThreatGEN will be broadcasting that heads up play between Eric and I. So I hope you can join us. And until next time, we'll see you.